We'll call this meeting. We'll call this meeting of the Public Works Committee to order. This agenda was posted in the office of the county clerk on the 19th day of November 2020. Notice was sent to the West Bend Daily News, Express News, WIBD, WMBZ Radio, WTKM Radio, My Community Now, the Hartford Times Press, the Kewaskum Statesman, and the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. We have everyone in attendance. We'll rise for a silent prayer for Pete Sorcy and the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, consent agenda. Anybody have any questions or discussion?
I'm assuming that we're just gonna, I'm assuming that we're just gonna keep tracking the ridership. I see it's still down, but we were talking about, was it 6 months that we approved or for the last time?
Okay, yes, you just asked to look at it every month, and then it's on the, as a consent agenda, so you can pull it out any month that you'd want. We can discuss it further. And if you want to, like the next month, put it on as official discussion item, we certainly can do that. So every month, we're gonna be providing you these numbers as we're looking at those. And we can certainly readjust this. We thought we'd be looking at more like in that June area when it comes to budget time to see if there's something that we really, that's when we're gonna bring it back as a true discussion item to see if we need to look at it in more depth. As you can see, the ridership is inching its way up, if you're positive.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I figured we were doing, so thanks.
Yeah, the thought is that it'll take a few months to, even once we have a vaccine, when that happens, our office is going to open up downtown again, or are people not going to commute as much? So I think June is good. Thanks.
Mhm.
So without any further comment, I think I'd look for a motion to approve. Motion by Smichek, second by Oman. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. So with that, we'll move into the action items, and starting with the public hearing. You get to read it. No, you read it first, don't you?
Specialized Transportation Assistance Grant 2021. The Specialized Transportation Assistance Grant application for 2021 is scheduled for a public hearing at the regularly scheduled Public Works Committee meeting on Wednesday, November 25th, 2020 at 7:30 a.m. at the Washington County Herbert J. Tennis Government Center, West Bend, Wisconsin. The public hearing will be held for the purpose of receiving comment for Washington County's proposed plan for spending the allocation of $351,826 authorized under Section 85.21 of the Wisconsin State Statutes to implement elderly and disabled transportation assistance in Washington County through Washington County Transit Services, published November 11th, 2020.
I think you need to does need to open a public hearing before I speak.
All right, at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak for this?
If I could just provide a little bit of background here, and there, I know there is at least one resident or citizen that will comment on this. This is an annual thing for those that are new to the committee. So every year we come back with the 8521 grant and have to have a public hearing. That is part of the rules and regulations that we live by in transit to take the federal money. So that's why this is coming to your committee. In the past, that those funds, the $350,000, was used solely for transit for Washington County. We actually, this year, kind of oddity, we actually had two other requests for the funds in that, for that funds for 8520 grant. And if you read through your report, the first one was medical rides out of the county. And we're looking at interfaith caregivers. So they're looking for grant funding of $3,000. And again, if you read further through the report, this is for 1 year, because every year you're going to have to look at this. So if it's not feasible, if you don't want to do that, either A, the committee can so choose that that's not what we want to fund. That's not what we think this money is for. Staff does believe this is allowable under those rules, and believe this is a good time to do that. We actually have CARES funds available this year too, so it's actually a good year to try some of these pilot programs, if you will, because we do have the additional CARES funds, about $1 million. So we're asking for $3,000 of the $350,000. So we didn't think that was too unreasonable of a request. The second one is food pantry rides. The Medical Center Foundation, they're looking for $1,600. That they believe it will only be 1 year. It's because of COVID. They want to provide these rides, and we're all hopeful that this is a 1 year thing. By the end of 2021, we're hopefully through and past this. So we'd be reevaluating the first one, the medical rides out of the county. That's with interfaith caregivers. And then the second one is hopefully, again, at Medical Center of Hartford to provide those kind of similar to a Meals to Wheels type of a program, if you will. So Joyce here to answer any questions. I know that Corey, our county mobility manager, was available via Zoom, and she may want to speak on this too as a public member. Or if you have any questions, I certainly can answer those. Oh, can't be questions. Okay. Perfect. All right, thanks.
All right, again, is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak? Is she on?
I am on. Yes. Have you read over what we're proposing?
I didn't hear the question. Can you repeat that, Corey?
I don't have. Okay, I'm just wondering if everyone has read over what's being proposed.
Yes.
Yes, we have.
Okay. And do you have any questions? From my perspective, what I would be doing is overseeing. I take calls from people within the county who are struggling with transportation. In 2019, the Coordinated Transportation Committee of Washington County did a survey to identify gaps in transportation. At that time, 342 respondents did not drive. Of those, 33% had the need to cross county lines. 83% of those folks need to get to the doctor. 76% used to drive. 71% do not use medical emergency transportation through Medicaid. So 71% are not Medicaid. 67% were under 65, and 52% were mobility impacted. I get calls pretty regularly for folks that need to get cross county, and there's not an affordable way to get across. It can cost anywhere from $170 to over $200 to get from different places in Washington County to Freighter for different things that you might need. And there are many services that can't happen here within the county. So it's been an ongoing issue for our county. This would give the county the ability to start this program, and we would work to grow it and find other funding and make it sustainable. But we could really use the help to get it off and started.
Anyone else wish to speak? Again, anyone else wish to speak? In that case, I'll close the public hearing. Any questions or comments from the committee?
I'm not sure if this is a question for you, Scott, but the 70,000 in local contribution, is that the total for the
County.
county as a whole for the whole taxis service? Okay. And the rest of the 2.2 million is covered in grant
Grants.
funding.
Yes.
And
The county portion altogether, the county so that's the 70,000 is for kind of shared rides. So the county levy portion for all of transit is 670,000, give or take any given year, a little bit higher, a little bit less based on the year. So the whole program is multi-million dollars.
I just want to clarify that the local share for that is specifically for that grant. So it's the specialized transportation, and they require that local share of 70,000. The actual local share required for shared ride taxi is much closer to 230,000. But that's already been in the budget. So they're saying that a portion of the county levy that's already being used covers the local share required for this grant.
so of the 600 some thousand for local share, this 70,000 comes out of that 600 or is
Yes.
part of that 600?
Yeah, it's not additional.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification, because I thought 70,000 was way too low for a local share.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I do want to point out too, the copay on that ride out of the county is $38. So our shared ride, our commuter express is still available at a lower cost. If they want a lower cost option to get down there, it's just not as convenient to get down to medical college certain times of day with our commuter express.
Yeah, I'll comment. I discussed this at length with Scott, and I don't see any reason we should blink at it. It's a good idea. So then I'd look for a motion. John made the motion, Marcy seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Okay, next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next item is the Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. Just as we just talked about, when you take federal money, it's kind of a broken record. You have to do certain things the federal government wants you to do. This is one of those instances. They now incorporated we have to have a Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan for even our small shared ride taxi and commuter express service. Don't get me wrong, we've taken safety into account for many years, and our vendors that we have, because we don't do this in-house, have had safety plans themselves in place. What we're doing is that what the DOT did was, thankfully, they created a safety plan that met the federal requirements. And basically what we did was we then tailored it to our needs to make sure we put our name on there and our vendors, and to make sure that it follows what our needs. So in your packet was rather lengthy. I apologize for that. We want to make sure you have the entire safety plan in front of you to look at and review. And one of those requirements is that it has to come to the board committee, for approval. And that's what you'll see it here today. So this is one of the first times we've done this, but it won't be the last. So you'll see this coming back again in the future. We're going to make modifications to it. But this is the first time that this committee, any committee at the county level, has seen this. So it's important that you've looked it over and taken into account. And a lot of the safety stuff that we're doing is we're passing it on to our local vendors, the Coach USA for next year, as well as STS, which is a lot of responsibilities.
When I reviewed this, I used to review audits for my real job. So we just took theirs and adapted it to make it ours.
We took the DOT's template because we were a small provider that we didn't have the staff to do it. So the DOT, and again, we're very appreciative of that. We created a template for all the small service providers, and we took that template and tweaked it, made it into our own, and kind of filled in the blanks. Joy was instrumental in that. She can be talking more if you have more specifics on it. Yes.
So typically when we answer no to something, wouldn't we have a reason? I mean, if it doesn't apply at all, we'd say not applicable.
Yeah. So if it doesn't apply, then it's not applicable. If it's no, then we just don't have something in place. And so, I mean, it was a useful exercise to see what's missing, because we do not have someone who specializes in risk assessment within transit. So you're going through and seeing what we need still and what's in place. So I mean, even though the big picture is that we have an incredibly safe safety program, or a transit program already, we can set our goal for 0 fatalities, which is fantastic. But yeah, there are other things that specifically looking at the facilities and looking at training that we know we can improve.
So what you're saying is this will all be worked on, the things where you say no will be developed further as we go?
Yeah. So this is supposed to be, a working document to be reviewed annually. And, working very closely with STS and with Coach USA. Coach USA has a very good safety program in place because they are a national organization, and they do this type of transit, all over the country. STS, we're working through some of these, and with one of our goals for next year is really making sure that the management have training needed in the FTA's definitions, the FTA standards, so we can really implement a top-down culture of safety.
Okay. Anybody have questions or further comments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
So then I would, Doug makes the motion, second from William. Then I'd call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Our next meeting date is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, December 23rd. It looks like we will have a meeting, but if that changes, we will all be notified. But anybody, December 23rd is okay? Nobody's leaving town, especially not this year. All right, this meeting's adjourned.
Just a friendly reminder, traffic chief